Jeff, when you were adding guys during the offseason, reconstructing the roster, what was it that you had, like, what did you want from this team? Like, player trait-wise, personality-wise, skill-wise?
We wanted to get guys that we felt were, first of all, talented, good people. We felt like that had upside, that were competitive, and that wanted to be a part of something. I like what we were able to put together with the guys that we were able to get from transfer, from JUCO. The one high school kid, I think we got size, I think we have versatility. We have two guys that have played really well at this level, especially defensively with Dan and with Mo. We have a guy in JB that's been a part of two really good cultures, and in Wichita was an integral part of it. Who's older? We've got a little bit older. Even Nate, as a freshman, he's a 20-year-old freshman, so he's 2 years older than Will. They've had really good attitudes. They've worked. They have a little bit different level of maturity, and so they've been good. I like the pieces that we've added. I mean, for me, I feel like it's 6 because John is 6. We certainly missed him, and very, very, happy to have him back.
How's John handled?
Great. He's been terrific. He's been terrific. Terrific.
Heather talked to us in the off season just about the importance of, for her, seeing you getting closer with your players and being able to interact with them more. What has it been different? Like, because last year you told us about how, like, your guys are having to work out at home that you couldn't be around them. What's that been different like this year?
Well, it's been close to normal. I mean, last year was so abnormal in every way, and no matter what, it just, like, you never got used to it. There's normally a rhythm of a season, and for as long as I can remember of being involved with it, it's been that rhythm. As a player, as a coach, like, it's been that rhythm. Last year was the first time since I entered college basketball in 1993. So it was the first time since 1993 that rhythm was incredibly disrupted. And so I think it threw everyone off, especially teams that in programs that didn't have veteran guys. And so there was a lot that we couldn't do. I couldn't have the guys over to my house, which is something that I normally do. We couldn't bring them up to the office to watch tape with them, have them in there to do that. We could do it a little bit towards the end of the season, but as we were getting started, and that's where the relationship starts. The relationship starts early. The relationship starts in recruiting. The relationship starts when you get them, and the relationship grows when you get them here in the summer. You start working with them. But not just working with them, you're spending time with them. You're getting to know them. They're getting to know you. They're getting to know what you need. We had none of that. I mean, not just us. No one did. And where we were as a program, we couldn't sustain it. You saw it early in the first game. Then we got pretty good, and then it just fell apart. And so again, it's been really good to have that. We have the majority of our guys, returning guys. I think all of them were here for the first session of summer school. We had the whole team, all the new guys were here once we got to the second session. And so we've had everyone here since the end of June. And so you've been able to do some of those things. We've been able to do some team outings, that we weren't able to do last year.
Jeff, do you have a sense of what the identity of this group will be?
Not yet. Obviously we want to try to hang our hat on being tough, being good defensively, and hopefully we can be better offensively than we've been in the first 3 years, and be a little bit more versatile.
How much, for the guys who were freshmen last year, how big has it been for them to have something a lot closer to a normal offseason?
Yeah, they went to their first in-person class in September. We had to show them how to get around campus, how to get to class, like where stuff was. Like, we had to do that. For our new guys, the first time I met them in person was when they walked in my office. You know, like we have 5 new guys, and I didn't meet them in person. So you look at the heights that they have. It was the first thing I did when they walked in. I went and stood beside them to see, like, are you really 6'7"? Are you really 6'5"? Are you really 6'6"? Like what? And so it's been really good for them. For it's 5 of them, the sophomores, that this is new. This is a new situation. Going to a football game, going to a volleyball game, being able to just do things that a normal student could do that we just weren't able to do last year. And then having a chance to work with them, that's been big, having a chance to work with them.
That was a class year. I mean, it was big in size. It was rated in the top 25, top 30. What sort of so it's a very integral part of this team, I guess, for this year moving forward. What development have you seen from the guys who are going to be sophomores this year? What improvement have you seen from them?
I think they've all gotten stronger. I think they've all gotten in better shape. I think they understand now how you have to work at this level. I mean, again, everything was so disjointed, especially for them last year, that it was just, I felt like they were playing catch up all around the country last year, the freshmen were. And so I think that's where just, a little bit more mature, physically their bodies look different, they're in better shape, they have some experience, with playing and with how college basketball is.
Jeff,
I know we're seeing the first practice, but I wanted to get your thoughts on what Justin's been able to do in his first time just was working through summer league and everything that how much have you talked to him and what's your thoughts on what he's doing?
Yeah, I talk to him all the time. Incredibly proud of him. I thought he made a great decision, first and foremost for him and his family. I thought it was the right decision. And when you're in the position that he's in, when you're not going to be a guaranteed first round pick, if you're not going to be early second round, in a lot of ways it's best to not get drafted, because then you can pick the situation that's best. And his agent did an incredible job, because all throughout the process, we communicated with Justin, and his agent knew that Toronto loved him. And so he was able to basically not get him drafted once it went past a certain number, which was great, because it put him in a position where he gets to go to a team that values him, that loves him. Good friend of mine is the associate head coach there, and after the first few days of practice for summer league, like, he texts me and like he fits our culture. He's exactly what we're about. Then he said something that made my jaw drop, like how hard he's working defensively. That kind of blew me away. But again, I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. And I think he's going to do a fantastic job.
Jeff, we only saw a little bit of time, but Burton seems to have a presence about him, like a leadership quality about what has he added just at this early juncture for you guys?
He's a really serious kid. He's incredibly mature, just as a young man or man now. A little bit different from really what we've had. He and Mo are probably more mature than a lot of the college guys that I've been around, and that's including me when I was their age. Just kind of their approach to things, and how they see the world, the importance of work and being a part of something. And so JB's done a good job since he's been here. He's been 10 toes down, both feet in, and he's tried to, first and foremost figure out his place, and then figure out, the impact how he can best impact us for winning. He's vocal. He takes coaching, what you expect coming from Chris Beard and Greg Marshall, two outstanding coaches, and outstanding programs and outstanding cultures of winning. And so we're very glad that we got him.
You mentioned that you transferred just a second ago. How are you liking this free agency in college basketball?
exactly what it is. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's changed a lot. I think it's changed, you know, how you look at recruiting. I think it's changed how you look at your team. You know, I think it's changed just everything, you know, between that and the name, image, and likeness stuff. I think everyone's still trying to navigate it and trying to figure it out. But I think it's changed a lot. Some ways good, in a lot of ways good. And I'm not saying there's anything bad about it. I don't know if there's anything bad. It just is what it is. You know, one of the things is that maybe you don't have, you know, the continuity that sometimes you would have. You know, if you look at a program in our league like Virginia, for them to lose 7 guys, you know, that's, you know, a little bit different. And so, but that's the nature of it. Like, that's the nature of where we are right now. Hopefully last year was a little bit abnormal because you were also dealing with COVID. You were also dealing with guys getting an extra year. And so some of the transfers that happened because of that. I think you'll see it kind of even out as we go forward. But it certainly is different.
Another one of your new guys that you guys brought in from that free agency market, Chris Payton, obviously coming from JUCO. How has he handled, you know, we saw today, we were just talking about it. He looks up to speed. He looks like he can hang with the ACC guys. You know, how has he handled that jump so far?
Yeah, well, you know, his wasn't a free agent. That's a regular JUCO guy. But, you know, he came from a really good JUCO program where he was coached very, very well. And, you know, he played with other really good players, you know, while he was there. And so I think that's helped him navigate, you know, getting to the Division I level and certainly the ACC. One of the biggest things with him when he got here is just getting in shape, you know, because there's some things that they just didn't have in JUCO that we have here. And so learning a lot, he's learned a lot, but he's open to learning. He understands that he has to learn. He's willing to learn. He wants to learn. And he wants to utilize all the resources that we have here, from strength and conditioning to, you know, coaches on the court to, you know, taking care of his body, nutrition, like all these different things. And we've seen a huge jump from him from when he first got here to where he is right now. And we think he has a chance to continue to grow and get better.
When you talk to your guys and meet with your guys and meet them in practice, are you seeing a big difference in maybe their response compared to what the previous teams you've had here?
I don't know. I don't know right now. I mean, normally early it's been good. It hasn't been bad. I mean, it's you know, this group has I think they've worked really hard this summer. You know, the thing we keep stressing and have stressed since we've been here is to understand how much you need each other. That's what the really good teams and the good programs do. You know, when this program was one of the better programs in the country, that's what they had. They had a toughness, they had a togetherness, and they always understood how much they needed each other. There was never one guy, even if it was a great player like DeJuan, or a great leader like Levance, or, you know, a great leader like Brandon, and a great player. You know, they always understood that they needed each other. And that's what we have to do. We have to do it all the time. We have to do it when adversity hits. We have to do it when there are difficult times. You know, we have to lean on that all the time.
Jeff, during the past 2 years, your chemistry issues have been cited as far as the team not performing well down the stretch. As a coach, I mean, what steps, or as a staff, what steps, if any, have you made to not try to combat that, but to try to maybe manage that? And how much did that factor into when you were putting together a team and looking for particular guys or types of guys?
Yeah, it factored in a lot. I'll go kind of backwards. It factored in a lot. You know, we wanted to get guys that wanted to be a part of something, that felt like they had something to prove, and more importantly, that wanted to be here. That's the main thing. I mean, all that other stuff is great, but we wanted guys, and we'll want guys going forward that really want to be here, that want to be a part, that believe in us, and believe in what we're doing and how we do, you know, how we're doing it. Because when we do it the right way, it works, and we'll win when we do it the right way. You know, what we've done to, you know, we've done what we always have done since we've been here. We continue to try to build relationships. You know, we're honest. you know, in how we coach them. You know, we're fair. We try to push them. You know, I've always believed from back when I played or when I was growing up watching my dad coaching teams that if there's love there, then you can coach them hard as long as you're fair and it's fair to everyone. And I feel like that we have done that, you know, every day since we've been here. And so, again, we have guys that want to be here, that want to be a part of what we're doing, and we're going to coach the heck out of them and see what happens.
When you talk with guys, Jeff, and you first get to know them, like how do you sort of, I guess, determine or detect that desire to be here? You know, because I figure guys can probably say, "Oh yeah, no, I would love to, you know, come here. It'd be great to play in the ACC." Like, how do you, as a coach, kind of parse that out and detect that?
Well,
It's like a sixth sense or something.
Well, it's that, it's a feel. You know, you also try to ask a lot of questions, try to talk to a lot of people that have been around them, that have watched them, that have seen them, that have been a part of their life, whether they coached them or worked them out or taught them or counseled them, in some way. And you try to get people that don't have fan-colored glasses on, that will be honest with you and tell you the truth. If you're able to spend time with them, that certainly helps, to be around them, to watch them, to see how they interact with teammates, to see how they interact with their coaches. If you can do a home visit, you maybe see how they interact with their family. If you can get them on campus, you see that. You know, it's all those things. But then it's not just that. It's when they get here. You know, I don't think we've had a guy here that we recruited that when we got them that they didn't want to be here. I think they all wanted to be here. Sometimes it could get to a point maybe with the kid, they don't want to be here anymore. They don't think it works for them. It doesn't fit. Or, you know, maybe at times they think that they're too good for it. Like they think they're maybe a little bit above it. And so, look, I never really try to get into or try to figure out why a kid left. My whole thing has always been, if they don't want to be, and I love every one of them, if they don't want to be, then go where you want to be. That's wherever you feel you can have the success. And if it's not here, then fine, we'll get people to want to be here.
Coach, your top three scorers from your team from last season's gone. You don't return any one who averaged more than 9. Could you talk about the sort of the opportunities or the challenges that poses without having a clear go-to scorer on your roster right now? And have you seen so far this offseason potentially one that could emerge, or will it be a group effort?
It'll be a group effort for sure. I'm not worried about that, to be honest with you. I think we have guys that are capable of stepping up in bigger roles. We had a few guys show that at the end of the season last year when their roles were elevated, and I thought they were prepared for it. They stepped up. And, you know, we're a couple of possessions from, instead of being 1-3 in those last 4, to being 3-1. You know, and so if we could, you know, correct some things. So I think we've had some guys that have shown, you know, some ability. We have to be more consistent with it. But we're not going to win because of one person or two people. Like, we're going to win because of our group. And because we're together, we're tough. We understand how much we need each other. The love is there, even when there's adversity. You know, if you look at the team that won our league last year, it was Virginia. You know, at least in the regular season. I don't even remember who won the ACC tournament. I think it was Georgia Tech. But I think there was a period in the season where Virginia lost 3 straight. And it maybe looked like the house was falling apart, but they're older, they've won, they have a culture, and they were able to sustain it in the midst of chaos because they had some stuff going on too. But when you have that, and you have that established, and you've won, and they've won at an incredibly high level, then you're able to sustain that. And it's never going to be one person. Like I told our guys, we had a guy that was a few percentage points away from leading the league in scoring, and he led the league in rebounding by almost 3 rebounds. That guy didn't get drafted. The highest guy drafted in our league came off the bench. The second highest drafted guy in our league was the 3rd leading scorer on his team. There was no one from first or second team all conference that got drafted. And so it's not about what you do individually. It's about, can you fit into and fill a role? And that's what everyone on our team has to understand. And if we do that, then we'll be good. because I like the pieces that we have.
Speaking of roles, one thing that you talked a lot about last year was Ithiel and having him fit into the role of being the shooter and not always trying to be the ball handler. How has he taken on adjustments now this year? 'Cause now he's one of the guys who's been there.
Yeah, and he's done a good job. I mean, I think Ithiel should be one of the better shooters in our league. I have so much confidence in him shooting the basketball when he takes good shots. And I think he understands that. One of his goals, and these are his words, his goals coming into the season, and we talked about this, but it was to simplify the game. And I think he's done a really good job of that. There's still at times when, he'll take some shots that maybe, whatever, but that's not just him, that's everyone. But man, I believe in him so much. And I think he has a chance to be one of the better shooters in the ACC and in college basketball.
Femi's
more consistency from him.
Yeah, we have.
Femi's one of those guys who, towards the end of the year, saw a big jump in minutes. How is he kind of prepared for this year when that's going to be more consistent and go throughout the entire year?
Well, he's got to earn it. You can't. None of these guys can think because of what you did in 4 games or you were the leading returning scorer of a team that lost the top 3 scores that it's just going to happen. You got to earn it. You got to show up every day. You got to fight. You got to earn your spot. And so I'm not saying he's done this, but one of the biggest mistakes that anyone can make, whether it's Femi or Nike, those are the 2 guys last year at the end that really, if you look at their numbers, really stepped up. But if they think, or Will, or IT, or, those 4 guys are the guys that played the most, that it's just going to happen, then they're probably not going to play a lot this year because we have other guys. And so, Femi should be a really good player for us. He should be a really good guy in this league. And he's certainly shown what he's capable of doing. You just have to be able to do it consistently. You got to show up every day. One of the things that happens is that when you do some good stuff, then things change. There are expectations. How do you deal with expectations? People coming after you a little bit more. You're not an afterthought on the scouting report. You're one of the first guys or the first 2 guys. That's a challenge. I remember going through that, as a player after my freshman year. And so that's a challenge. It's something we've talked to him about, all summer, all fall, and we'll continue to talk to him and work with him. And I think he's poised to have a really good year.
Jeff, what type of post presence does John provide your team this year?
Different from we've had since I've been here. I felt like I thought his last 2 games last year, he was really starting to figure it out, really starting to get it. And then, he was sidelined with COVID protocol with those 3 guys. They didn't have it, but they were all in, what's the term last year? They were in, what's the protocol? Close contact, yeah. And so they had to sit. And then obviously then he was out for the rest of the year after that. He's a wide body. He's getting in better shape. He's got really good hands. He has a really good feel. He's a willing and capable passer. He gives us something that we haven't had in 3 years since I've been here. So hopefully he can continue to grow and build and get better and give us something that we haven't had.
With John being away away from the team for about 4 months, I mean, how, if at all, did that impact his development, or have you noticed anything where he was kind of playing catch up at all?
Well, he was away from us, but he wasn't. He was away physically. Like he wasn't with us in practice and in whatever. But we talked to him and were a part of his daily routine every day. I mean, one of the things that I'm so proud of is even in the midst of all of that, and it was a lot, he still had a 3.0, a little bit over a 3.0 during the second semester. But John has an incredible support system. I think we're a part of it, but from his mom and especially his high school coach and his community back home. And as he was dealing with the adversity that he was dealing with and the uncertainty, the thing that he always had is that he was surrounded by love. And I'd like to think that we were a big part of that, but certainly his mom, his grandparents, his high school coach, his community did that. And so, even though physically he couldn't be here with us, you know, he was still working, getting better. And one of the big areas of growth is mentally, how much stronger he's gotten, and how much, you know, he's grown up.
Yeah, with the chief of staff role, Jeff, was that something that you were actively kind of looking to add, or was it something that's was it something that just kind of came up where you had the opportunity to get a top assistant from a very good mid-major program?
Yeah, it was something that we were looking at. It was something that I was looking at, like a position. I'm not big into titles, so the title is what it is. But just to, you know, to really add someone to help, you know, with recruiting. If you look around the country, especially at our level, you know, you have people in place that can really kind of focus in on recruiting. You know, you have to recruit your own guys now all year, and your players, like our guys are here 11 months. Like players are really on your campus now about 11 months of the year. At this level, you know, with Ivies, they can't be there in the summer, and maybe it's some of the mid majors and low majors. But at this level, like they're really there for a good part. And so, trying to keep up with recruiting, and also your team, and getting better and working and things like that, I just felt like as a program, this was a position that we needed to help us as a coaching staff to stay organized, to help us with recruiting, but also we were fortunate to be able to get Kyle, who's a really, really, you know, I think brilliant basketball mind that had an integral part of the success that they had at Vermont, especially offensively. And so we feel very fortunate to be able to have him.
You got a script? Go ahead.
That's fine. There's a lot of talk, rightfully so, about Femi and John having big sophomore campaigns, but there's three others as well, and Noah Collier, Madison, and Wood Jeffries, who is going to have what would be considered a relatively normal year compared to their true freshman years. How are you feeling about their development?
Well, I think all of them have gotten better. I mean, look, we need all of them to have really good years, each guy. And I think they all have each guy has put themselves in position because of their work, you know, this summer, physically, mentally. I think all of them have put themselves in position to really step up. And the thing is that they have to understand, everyone on our team, you can't judge your success the way the majority of people judge it. That you got to judge it the way that we judge it. As we don't say we as coaches, because each guy has a role, and that role may not be scoring. That role could be being a very good defender, being a great screener, being a finisher, being a communicator, being a connector, like whatever that role is. And, you know, in my opinion, and I felt this, if you look at every level of basketball, the teams that are successful, they have that. And when you win, everyone's a star in some way. And so we need everyone on our team to do that. I don't know if, look, I hope we have several guys that are poised to have big years. I'm not singling any guy out, but we need all of them. We need all of them to have big years. We need all 12 and the 12 scholarship guys, and, you know, we have a walk-on that could play. O is good. We have a lot of confidence in him. So we need all of them to have really good years for us.
You got that scrimmage coming up next week. Have you given any thought to how you're going to divide up the teams or anything like that?
No, we haven't. You know, we haven't. We'll figure that out as we get closer. It'll be competitive, though. It certainly will be that.
Jeff, what are the team's vaccination numbers look like?
100%. Yeah.
All right, that's a good place to end it. We got the vaccine
I was
question.
about to say. Yeah, that's like the quintessential